Well, it's a book I got from a good priest friend, Prayers of the Soul. And this particular prayer is a prayer for people who have addictions. It could be any kind of addiction. And I've found that I pray this prayer with people over the phone, and many of them have been blessed by it. It's not me, but this priest put all these different prayers together for different times. Maybe you have a son that's away from the church, a husband or wife that's not practicing. And I just think that in the world we're living in right now, there's so much going on externally that it can distract us from staying focused on what really matters in life. Am I onto something?
Absolutely, Terry. I think one of the biggest demises that we have in society today, and don't get me wrong, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a general practitioner, I'm a psychiatrist,
Yeah.
but a lot of times we rely so much on medication and what we feel is science and where we're going to get the answers. And we lose the sense that all that came from God anyway. And we kind of lose that sense of our supernatural faith with the fact that prayer really works. And if I ask for prayer, I should expect to see changes. I tell my patients, when you take medication, you expect that it's going to work. You expect that your blood pressure is going to go down, your cholesterol is going to get better, your depression is going to improve because you did something. You took this medication, you have faith in that. But spiritually speaking, prayer is open to everybody. You don't need to go get a prescription. I was listening to you saying that prayer beforehand. That prayer is very, very beautiful. And I think that we got to get to the point and remind ourselves and bring that back to the idea of, hey, if you pray, you better expect to see some change. You better actually kind of be on the verge of saying, hey, watch out, something's going to happen. I'm going to pray right now. Watch out, something's going to happen.
Well, Doc, what are you going to, I want everybody here on the Terry and Jesse show to stay tuned for your show by getting our app. If it's not on the AM station they're listening to, going to vmpr.org. What can you tell us about the show that you're going to do following our show?
Well, it's actually going to touch on exactly that in terms of prayer. The title of the show is Satanic Ritual Abuse.
Ooh.
And it's going to be a heavy show. So for our listeners, if they want to listen in, they want to use caution. We're going to talk about some serious things, but we're also going to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. Because when you hear a word like satanic ritual abuse, a lot of people get really scared and they get shocked, and rightfully so, right? We never want to head in that direction. But one of the challenges is people can feel helpless or overwhelmed. And what we really want to do in deliverance is to remind people it's Christ-centered. And there's a reason why it's Christ-centered, because if we're feeling overwhelmed by dark forces in our lives, if we feel that somebody's abusing us or that we've been a victim of satanic abuse in any way, what we need to remember more than anything else is Jesus is in charge, and we can't let our focus go to the negative. We have to focus on the light, and that will make all that darkness go away. Otherwise, we can just stay seeped in a whole lot of negativity in our lives without the power of prayer to get us out of there.
Well said. So I want to encourage you to stay tuned after the show. In a couple of minutes, Dr. Sandoval will be on. I'm anxious. I have a luncheon that I got to go to after my show, but I want you to know this is a nugget on our network, gold nugget. And many people aren't aware of it. That's why I was glad to have him on. So Dr. Sandoval has a lot of shows or podcast on. If you go to virginmostpowerfulradio.org and look under his shows, guarantee it will help you. Dr. Sandoval, for those who don't know anything about you, tell us a little bit more about your work in the church and also in your professional line of work.
Sure. In my professional life, I graduated from medical school at UCLA here locally in Los Angeles, and I did a specialty in both family medicine and psychiatry out of UC San Diego. So I'm a product of the UC system. Mm-hmm. So I specialized a lot in family medicine. But I really fell in love with the psychiatry portion of my specialty, because that's where I really found Christ in people. You get to talk to people, you get to talk about their lives, and people come to you with some of the most intimate things. I joke around with some of my priest friends that, most of the patients I have do confessions for me. And then when people go to confession, they bring up their mental health. And so I tell them we need to swap places. People are willing to tell you some of the most intimate things. And I'm very glad to talk to them about that, but always leading them back to Christ.
Amen.
Reminding them that Christ is the primary doctor. So I love that. And then part of, God works in mysterious ways when when I finished my residency in San Diego, I came back to Orange County, and a good priest friend of mine said, "Hey, you're a psychiatrist. I need a little bit of help with the deliverance ministry because I get a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, I think I'm afflicted by the devil. I think I'm afflicted by evil spirits." And a lot of times it can be mental illness. So we need to sieve that out. We need to decide, is this mental illness? Is this spiritual oppression or affliction? And through our interviews, doing a psychiatric assessment, sometimes it's not either or, sometimes it's both and, but we can kind of tease out, gosh, do you still need mental health help? And do you still need to stick to the prayers? Because the reality is, whether or not somebody needs help with their mental health, we all need to be saying our prayers one way or another. We're all going to be affected by what's good and what's evil in the world, and we want to be on the right side of that.
Wow, I want to encourage our listeners, especially the ones on the AM, FM stations, to get the app from 3mpr.org, download it on your phone. You're going to find that these shows with Dr. Sandoval will enlighten you, but also build you up in the faith. It's not going to be something that you're going to be frightened in a sense, because you know what he's always going to lead you to? Right here, right in my hand, Jesus Christ. That's who he is.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of his show. And I want to encourage our listeners to start getting used to a Thursday night show. You can, you don't have to listen to it on live. You can go podcast, make it convenient for yourself. Any of our shows are that way. I get people who tell me, Terry, I'm listening to you at 2 a.m. because that's when I get off stock in the grocery stores. And this is when I got an opportunity to listen to you guys. Hey, that's the beauty of technology right now.
That's what I tell a lot of people, Terry. When it comes to Virgin Most Powerful Radio, if you really want good therapy, there's no better medicine than Jesus Christ.
Amen.